Welcome to episode 73 of the Jez and Friends podcast. Today's special guest is Quan, who runs for Melbourne Uni and also fresh off another 800 PB. How's it going, mate?
Oh, yeah. Good to be on the podcast. I'm doing quite well.
That's good, mate. Big man's booked in
Oh,
a little
yeah.
mini studio down in Melbourne Uni, so it should be a good
Booked
chat.
in the library. Yeah,
Yeah.
all to ourselves.
Yeah, plenty of topics to cover. I guess we'll start off with kind of growing up in the Altona region. What's that like, running along the beach? Yeah, just good area in general.
Oh, yeah. So Altona's quite a nice place, even though it's close to the beach. Funnily enough, I don't use the beach that often because it's fairly windy there most of the time. So there's a nice lake in Altona. It's called Cherry Lake. It's a flat loop around the lake. So I actually run there quite often. There's also a lot of trails in Altona, lots of trails to explore. So it's good for long runs, easy runs, and whatnot. And yeah, I think there's a track. Yeah, there's a grass track which I often use. It's a bit annoying though, because usually you like to have a nice fast rubber track, but that one's grass, so I guess it's not too good. Yeah, not too good for speed work, but yeah, good if you want to keep track of your splits and whatnot when you're doing intervals. Yeah, Altona is quite a nice running place.
I might have to keep
Yeah.
the grass. I'm gonna try the grass track, so yeah, it
Yeah,
might be different,
kind of like grassy kilos that we do at Melbourne Uni here.
but not as bendy and
Yeah.
funny. Yeah, that's good. I guess yeah, talk us through Suzanne Corey because you went there and it's like a public school, but select entry. So how does that work?
Yeah, so Suzanne Corey, it's one of the four selective schools in Melbourne. So there's Suzanne Corey, Melbourne High, and there's Nossal in the Far East as well, and there's Macrob. So Suzanne Corey's, it's a co-ed school, goes from Year 9 to 12. So how it works is you do a entrance exam in Year 8, and there's some rule that they pick some number of students to get into each school. There's like a ranking, kind of like VCE as well. So you get in and yeah, you're put in a position where you're studying and learning with a lot of people who are also very high achievers. So you kind of go from schools where there's a very wide range of abilities to a school and environments where everyone's kind of very somewhat competitive in a way. They're very high achievers. So it's quite a different environment. But despite that, even though it might seem a bit daunting in Year 9, you kind of go through your journey at Susan Corey and all these select entry high schools as well, I suppose. You get to know everyone, and everyone's actually very friendly there. It's not too competitive. Um, well, it is competitive slightly because when you get to VCE, everyone worries about who's the rank one and whatnot.
I'm worried
Yeah.
about that.
I'm sure it's like that at all schools, but yeah, it's a really nice environment. The select entry schools, Susan Corey as well.
And also, you mentioned this ages ago that you were friends when you were younger with a hus dog, the two-time Vic champion. So what was that like? Describe that.
I wouldn't say friends, but classmates actually. Um, it's funny because he was actually a really good runner. I think states level, even back when we were in primary school. Um, yeah, I forgot when he started running, probably even prep, I would say. I'm not too sure. Um, but I think I was in his year 5, 6 class. So in primary school, they combined some year levels together. So there's year 5, 6, and so on, yeah, 3, 4, and so on. So I was in his 5, 6 class. I was in year 5. He was in year 6. So I think that was the only class I had with him. Um, and yeah, I've told Jerry this, but when we did KK, so Christmas, there was the KK thing. We gift to each other, and no one kind of knows who I think what it's called the Chris Kingle is.
Yeah.
So it turns out that's Hosdog, as you. He was my KK, and I forgot what he gave me. I think he just gave me a stack of candy canes or something. Um, but yeah, that was pretty funny as well. Um, yeah, that's all for Hosdog, I guess. Yeah,
Yeah, now it's a two-time
yeah,
world
now it's a
champion. Yeah.
two-time my Olympic mile champ.
It's incredible. Does that
Yeah.
inspire you, like having someone from like your school kind of do great things?
Yeah, it does. So it, it's interesting though because there's a lot of people from from my primary school who at the time were actually a pretty good sportsmen in their area. So, for example, I know someone else who played hockey back then, and also a bit of swimming as well. And now they're like state level athletes. So it's really inspiring to see someone go like someone that you know go to this level.
Yeah, I can relate in a sense, but like with different sports. Like I think one of my primary school mates plays for Melbourne City, like in a youth academy. Had a few senior games, so yeah, it's just like you were in a
Yeah,
classroom together like
yeah,
10 years before,
yeah.
and then look at them now. Yeah, oh, it's pretty surreal.
Yeah, it's pretty funny. Like you're with this person, and now they're just like back then, and now they're just like state level, national level,
Yeah.
and probably like Olympian in the
In
future
the
as
future,
well.
yeah.
And you could just say in a couple of years time, so I was in the same class as an Olympian like 10 years ago or something like that. It's pretty
Yeah, it's
funny.
incredible. And what about, let's talk about you now. So,
Oh yeah.
you began running at Melbourne Uni Athletics Club, I believe, last year,
Yep.
thereabouts, early last year. And this year you've been focusing on the track 800. Tell me about it.
So as for the 800, it started back in high school. So I started running, I think, year 10, end of year 9, something like that. And yeah, I think back in year 10 or year 11, I just started training for the 800 because I wasn't actually sure what I was training for. So my coach just told me to do 800-meter training. So I grinded a lot of 200 reps back in high school. So I haven't done too much of that last year, first year of uni, no, not first year of uni, back in 2020 because of
Yeah,
COVID and
12.
everything, yeah, because there were no races or anything. So I barely touched the speedy stuff. So I wanted to try it again this year, see if I still have that speed in my legs, and seems like I do. Got a couple of PBs.
Certainly do, mate.
Um, yeah, hope to get faster.
Awesome, mate. Big man ran 208 the
Yeah,
other
208.
day.
Wasn't the perfect race
Yeah.
though.
You got a good
Could
kick,
have,
mate. Would you say that's one of your
yeah,
strong suits in, I guess, your running journey so far?
that 208.
Oh, your kick. You're,
Oh, my kick. It
you're a
was a bit
bigger
of an
kicker, mate.
interesting kick. I got out kicked, which was the problem, which was not the plan. But yeah, with that race, the 208, I kicked a little early
Yeah,
and didn't
yeah,
have enough left for the final 50 meters or so. But yeah, I could have paced that race a little bit better, but it's still a PB nonetheless. So I'm happy with that.
I'm sure, yeah, you'd want to move up to like a 1500 or 3K in a few weeks. So,
Oh, well, I'm doing the 3K in
doing a few lined up,
next
yeah.
week or the week after. Um, yeah, 1500. I'll have to wait till maybe
Next
next
season, yeah.
season. I want to put in some proper training for that because I've just been doing 800 training mostly for the past couple of weeks.
And like, where do you see your running journey in 6 months' time, post cross country season leading up to the next track season?
Yeah, so I have a very, I guess, optimistic, not optimistic, what's the word for it?
Ambitious.
Ambitious.
No, we'll have to leave
Yeah.
it. It's good, like
took me
irony.
took me a solid 20, a very ambitious goal, not optimistic, very ambitious goal to potentially run a marathon this year, the Melbourne Marathon. And we'll see how our training goes. I do want to start increasing the mileage because at the moment I've just been doing 20 k's a week, which is nothing because of uni and whatnot. So yeah, we'll see how the training goes. If I don't get injured and I can increase the mileage, and maybe I can look towards doing a bit of marathon training. Um, if not, then I'm happy with just doing maybe a half marathon this year. I do want to improve from my time that I got from the time trial last year, which went pretty well. But yeah, half marathon or marathon, that's the goal by the end of this year.
I love that, mate. I'd love to join you on the start line as well.
Yeah.
Talk about marathon.
Yeah.
It's up there. like if you do it, I do it for you. Yeah, like, we're gonna peer pressure each other to do it. Yeah, like just to complete the marathon. Honestly, like if we're doing the half marathon and go for the time, yeah, we'll see how we go.
Yeah. With the marathon, you have to be very careful though. Um, I've seen some people who do the marathon without any training, which is really stupid in my opinion, because you have to get at least some training in with the long distance stuff.
Yeah, the long runs have to be
Yeah,
a lot longer than 14.
so
So
it's a big grind for training.
maybe a half
Yeah.
hour anyway. Talk us through your YouTube channel, qncubed3, because it's teaching high level maths for high schoolers doing special methods, which unfortunately I'm not doing. But I know a few mates who are doing it, and the other day, like one of my mates, she was like, "Oh, talking about this, I don't even know how to describe like special, this imaginary like
Yeah,
numbers."
imaginary numbers,
Yeah.
complex
Oh.
numbers that don't exist.
Yeah, yeah. All right, yeah. What inspired you to create the YouTube channel and talk us through that?
Yeah, so my YouTube channel, I started it, I think it was like midway or to the end of year 10. It actually started because I started developing a bit of a passion for mathematics. Um, so in year 9, it's a bit funny because you learn calculus in like the end of year 11. And for some reason, I decided to learn calculus in year 9 because watched some video and I was like, I wonder if I can learn calculus. So I ended up learning calculus in year 9, and I actually learned quite a bit up until year 10. So I decided to make a YouTube channel just to share what I was learning. Um, yeah, didn't have many goals for my YouTube channel to get too big. Like it was just more of a personal thing, just to keep track of what I'm doing. Um, in case, let's say, I forget how to do something, then I can watch my own videos, which has happened before. I forgot how to do something and I watch myself explain it to myself again. Um, so it's good for that reason. Um, but yeah, so it was a good way just to keep track of what I was learning, and eventually it was a big grind though to get to, let's say, 1,000 subscribers, and a lot of people actually benefited from that. So I kept going, kept making videos, um, and actually one of the main topics that I focus on is complex analysis,
Oh.
which is the imaginary numbers. So yeah, I think I'm quite well versed in imaginary numbers and whatnot. Um, yeah, I think did I miss the question? What was the
Yeah,
question?
like,
Just the YouTube
yeah, just
channel,
how it started, and
how
yeah,
it
like
started.
yeah,
Yeah,
and what you cover, which is like
yeah. So I actually don't do too much stuff for VC methods and specialists. I do have some videos there like covering exam solutions and whatnot, but it's mostly just what I learn and what I want to, what I want to produce.
and obviously it's come a long way.
Yeah,
The
it's gone.
4,000 watch hours and the 1K
Yeah,
subs.
if you told me 3 years ago that my channel would be at 3,000 subscribers, like now, I would be laughing. I would not think I would be able to do it.
Yeah, where do you see that in a few years' time? Like, do you set ambitious goals as well?
Well, I think at the start of this year, the subscriber curve, I think it started going a little bit exponential, which gave me a bit of hope. But now it's back to just a linear growth now, just a straight line going upwards. So, I mean, it's growing slowly, picking up a couple of subscribers every single day. So I think I went onto Social Blade or something like that. I should be at 10, yeah, 10,000 subscribers maybe next year or the year after. So,
Incredible. Keep up the great
yeah.
work. Don't give up on that. Yeah. And there's a few topics I want to mention now with the spotlight segment. So I wrote SC twice on the notes, but let's start off with speed cubing. Obviously,
Speed cubing.
big fan of Rubik's cube. So talk us through speed cubing.
Yeah, so I've actually been solving the Rubik's Cube since primary school, maybe? Not too sure. But actually, speed cubing started when I got into high school. It was actually because I think it was on orientation day or the first day of school. I saw someone just solving a Rubik's Cube, and I was like, oh, I could solve that as well. So they ended up being in my class. we actually became friends, and he actually got me into speed cubing. So speed cubing is trying to solve the Rubik's cube as quickly as possible. So that's how speed cubing began. And of course, I went to a couple competitions back then as well. Um, I don't go to competitions anymore though because I don't do Rubik's cube as much anymore. Too much, you don't have enough time and whatnot. But yeah, I did go to competitions back then. Um, I think I could go through some like speed cubing highlights if you want.
Yeah, go for it.
Speed
Yeah.
cubing highlights. I have a couple of those. So
PBs.
yeah, PBs. So it was actually this year, I think. I broke my PB again for the 3x3. It was a 5.94, I think, 5.94 seconds for the 3x3. So
Is
that
that like
was
the normal?
yeah, the normal
Yeah.
Rubik's cube. So that was the one of my biggest goals of mine, um, to to get a solve under 6 seconds, which I glad I'm able to achieve in my life. Maybe the next goal is sub 5, but that's way too ambitious at the moment because I don't practice. Um, yeah, and back in 2019, 2018, 2019. So with speed cubing, there's a lot of events. So there's 3x3, 4x4, all the way up till 7x7 as well, and a lot of like other funny events as well with like tetrahedrons, dodecahedron. If you've seen those type of Rubik's cubes before, but my main event was actually 7x7. I focused on solving the 7x7
So
as
is it like
quickly as
rectangular?
possible. So it was 7x7x7, so it's still a cube.
Oh,
So you could
not really.
imagine how big that could
Yeah,
be.
yeah,
And I managed to get one of my biggest highlights was getting a time of 2 minutes and 38 seconds in competition. And that actually somehow got me rank 3 in Oceania. And I think I'm still rank 3 up until this very day, actually.
yeah. Oh,
So, um, yeah, because not a lot of people get to that level in 7x7. Most people average like 3 to 4 minutes or something like that. Um, and and yeah, so that was a quite quite a big achievement for me. And I did go to there was a world championship in 2019 that happened to be in Melbourne, so I had to go to that one in my hometown. And yeah, there I got third in Australia as well, which was nice for 7x7. Um, and another funny story actually, which I think is that the next one you have funny
yeah, got a
stories.
few lined up.
Come
Yeah, yeah.
on, we'll get there
Oh,
eventually.
might as well go for it
Yeah, we'll
now.
go for it
Yeah.
now. Funny stories. There was world the Rubik's Cube world record holder. His name was Felix Zemtex, and he happened to live in Melbourne as well. So I actually got onto a podium with him in the Australian what's it called? The
Challenge.
Australian podium for the 7x7. So that was actually a pretty crazy moment for me because I'm standing right here on a big stage with the Australian world record holder. Actually, I think it was the world record holder at the time as well. And that guy, yeah, he was a really big name in cubing because he's been like completely dominating everything since like 2009. So like that was a very big name, and literally,
Big back then.
yeah,
Yeah,
I was literally standing right next to him on a world stage. So that was quite a big highlight for me. Um, but yeah, other than that, that's pretty much all my speed cubing highlights and experiences and whatnot. I'm still speed cubing till this day. I pick up the cube maybe once every couple of days, give it a spin just to make sure I don't get any slower.
yeah.
Unfortunately, I'm at a plateau now. I've been averaging 10 seconds for the past 3 years. So,
Yeah.
yeah, I've hit a big plateau. But, yeah.
Yeah, you have to like share it to Melbourne Uni next time you got like a function or something. Just like bring the Rubik's Cube, just like
Yeah.
we time you and yeah, that'd be amazing. But yeah, thanks for sharing that. Lovely story.
Yeah.
And just quickly with that, did you like win any prizes for like coming in the podium, like any medals or anything? Oh,
Well, we got these certificates. I don't think like it was that significant enough to get like money prizes or anything big. Because usually at these local competitions, They don't really give out prizes. Like if they do, maybe it's like leftover snacks from the competition,
That's right.
because
Yeah.
it's a non-profit organization. So I don't think they give out that many prizes. If there are any prizes, it would be at like the World Championships or some bigger competitions.
Well, that's that.
Yeah.
Another spotlight segment we had was a few interested, aspirations for those heading into uni. Want to, learn more about the day-to-day lectures and tips and tricks. I guess, yeah, talk me through more so the lectures and how they work.
So with lectures, well, it really depends on which subject you're doing. But let's say you're doing science, which I think is a lot of people who are
Popular, yeah.
going into Melbourne to do science. So lectures are usually 1 hour. So you'll have lectures during the week. I think most subjects are 3 lectures a week. But then you also have tutorials as well. So tutorials are just an opportunity to collaborate with other people, solve problems, and it's a good benefit for yourself and other people as well. And yeah, uni's it's a big shift from high school because you're given lectures, you're given problems to work on, but people, the tutors and the lecturers don't actually check if you do them. So in high school, I think usually you have layouts or something that you do. So you have the textbook, you have questions you do, and then the teacher goes around and check if you do it or not. But yeah, in uni, it's much self-directed. So if you want to do well, you have to be self-disciplined enough to put in the work to do these questions, get the practice in. Of course, there's assignments as well, which I mean, you don't really get given reminders. So in high school, um, maybe the teacher's a bit lenient. They'll tell you maybe like tomorrow is the assignment due or something. But in uni, they just give you one date, and if you don't get it in on time, then you get 0. So you have to stay on top of your work. You have to be organized in uni because it is very self-directed.
Awesome. And I guess in comparison, how you're talking about year 12, talk me through your year 12 journey because, it was during COVID and I, I guess you probably benefited in some ways, like more time to focus on, practice stacks and all that.
Yeah. So in year 12, I think when did lockdown start? It was
Oh,
April, wasn't it?
yeah, it was like
So it
March.
was a big shift because we had to learn how to use Zoom and learn how to learn online. Um, so it's a little bit tricky. I think your question was if I had benefit from studying at home. It's a little bit hard to say because on the one hand you have all this time at home. You don't have to spend time traveling and whatnot, and you also get extra time because there's less classes happening. So usually maybe you'll get a couple periods of each subject each week, but now it's only like 2 or 3 periods each week. So classes are reduced, so you have more time. The question is though, do you spend that time studying, or do you spend that time playing Minecraft with your friends like I did? I put in a couple hundred hours playing Minecraft during lockdown, apparently. So
Yeah, I remember you told me at training.
it's a bit of an outrageous number.
Yeah,
I think like upwards of 200 or something like that. I don't know how I had the time to do that. But it was good in the way because you don't see your friends for like many months, and the only way to interact with them is through like Discord or something.
I was podcasting.
Yeah, podcasting. Um, yeah, so it was really quite tough not seeing your friends because it's a very different environment, so you have to adapt to it. So the way my friends group adapted to it was just, well, we played Minecraft online. We chatted up until like 12 p.m. at night time and whatnot. So yeah,
What about Among Us? That
Among
was
Us.
a
Oh
big,
yeah, Among Us was big
yeah.
as well. I think when did Among Us come in? It was like mid 2020. Yeah, we played quite a bit of Among Us as well. Um, it's died out a bit though.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, it died out quite a bit.
Good while it lasted.
So yeah, it was good
What'd
while
you
it
do? Like
lasted.
everyone had to lie. How'd you play it?
How did I play Among
Yeah,
Us?
there's only one way.
It was a bit funny because I think my friend started playing it before me a little bit because our first session I couldn't be there to learn how to play it. So what I did on my first session actually was, well, on the one hand, I really didn't know what I was doing, so I was acting dumb. So I actually used that to my own benefit. So let's say I was the imposter, that was the imposter, right? I'll just act dumb, pretend I don't know what I'm doing, and then just kill people. And when it comes to the meeting, I would just say I have no clue what I'm doing. I'm still new to this game. It worked for a while. That was my excuse for the first couple of games. So they soon found out very quickly that I actually started to know how to play the game. But yeah, that was my tactic for the first couple of Minus games, and after that, I don't even know what I was doing. It was just trying to survive.
I reckon that game got me through year 10.
Yeah.
So no, it's good, like, because you needed that balance away from school as well, because we were just on our screens all day, and Among Us is on screens, but like we're obviously having fun at times. Yeah.
So how was lockdown? That was year 10 for you.
Flipping the script now.
Yeah. So we did have a few lockdowns in year 11 for you. How was that? Was it easier than year 10?
It's probably tougher than year 10.
Tougher.
Just because like it was on and off, like year 10 was just like full on, and then we had the opening. But then this one, like our school, we had like one positive case, and we all had to go into hard lockdown for 2 weeks. I had to oh my god, like.
That was the same for my school as well. We had one positive case, and then you're not allowed to see anyone for like months. And now there's 1,000 cases and no one can see.
It's funny how times have changed. Do you remember the 2-week lockdown? You just you don't know what to do. You're like, how do I exercise? Or just get on the PlayStation.
I remember back then we would be checking the
case numbers every day.
Yeah. And we got scared when it got to 10 cases. And now it's no one cares anymore.
Enough said about that. But I want to move on to music. Do you listen to pump up songs before a race, and if so, or just in general, who do you listen to?
Yeah, so I'm actually not much of a music listener.
More podcast.
So most of the time when I listen to music, it's actually while studying. So when I study, I just listen to some chill songs, some lo-fi beats, whatnot. Of the time which I do listen to music, maybe it's when I'm speedcubing or some downtime. I like to listen to a bit of pop. Some of the newer stuff has been good as well. What some artists I've been listening to. A bit of The Weeknd. Dua Lipa's been good as well. And there's a lot of the older ones as well. I think Calvin Harris has a lot of nice ones.
Some that's really good.
Yeah, the early 2010s. And back in year 7, year 8, I used to be into a bit of EDM.
I tried to get into making EDM.
I actually tried to make EDM. I'm actually a pianist as well, so I know a bit of music theory. Even though I know music theory, doesn't mean I'm good at making songs. Most of them just flops, just random chord progressions with a couple of random notes in the treble for the melody. But it was a good experience. I learned a little bit from that. But that's music.
You should listen to Greg's podcast. He had his own record label.
Oh yeah, I listened to a bit of it. That was actually pretty cool.
Where are we now? So I think we've covered the music aspect, lo-fi beats, EDM.
Yeah.
That was me a few years ago as well. Now more so, I don't know, hip hop kind of rap. So
another thing though, I know a lot of people like rap though. Personally, I just don't like rap. Whenever I hear rap, I just want to turn it off straight away. Yeah.
I don't like the mumble rap. I don't mind the slower hip hoppy type stuff. But it's alright.
Yeah, it's just personal preference.
Yeah. And I think you removed this segment, so we're not doing movies.
It's not touching movies.
Untouchable.
I'm not a movie watcher.
Quick hands now. So 5 quick questions. Pineapple on pizza, yes or no?
I don't mind it. So let's
Yes.
go for yes.
English or maths?
We're not
Not
touching
touching English yet. Favorite celebrity?
English.
Kipchoge. You know Kipchoge was on the PE exam. I was wearing his shoes during the exam. Just
With
came
the
up.
Kipchoge colours as well.
Yeah, yeah, that one. Yeah. Oh, it didn't help me at all. Favorite place to visit in the world? You're from? Yeah.
I actually went to Greece and Italy
Oh
on
wow.
a year 10 trip. So maybe I'll go with Greece. Um,
Was
a
that
lot of
before lockdown?
Yeah, it was before lockdown. It was in 2018. Lots of scenic places
Yeah.
there. I actually visited on that trip. I visited Olympia, which was where the Olympics started, and I ran on the 200-meter track they had there, which was like really really cool. Um,
What about Italy? Whereabouts did you go? Because I know a few
so
mates went
yeah,
there.
Italy. What places did we go to? We went to what's the one at the top? I forgot. Completely forgot.
I did tell him she is.
We went to Florence. We went to Venice. We went to Rome. Funny story at Rome though. So we went to the Colosseum and we had some time to walk around Rome, just explore and whatnot. And me and my mates, we actually came across what's his name, Logan Paul.
No way.
Logan Paul was in Rome, and we didn't know if it was Logan Paul at the time. So we actually went onto his social media, and he actually had posts at Rome. So we were pretty sure it was
It was him,
Logan
yeah,
Paul
you
there, which
bumped into
was
Logan. Yeah.
a bit funny as well. Yeah.
And back then he was doing like a lot more crazy things. I don't know what he's now boxing and doing
Yeah,
all that kind of
I've
stuff.
never
But
followed much Logan
yeah,
Paul, so I just know him as
yeah.
yeah, some popular YouTuber. Yeah.
No, it's really cool. I think the thing was it the Leaning Tower of Pisa? Like
Oh yeah, we went to Pisa as well. That was the Colosseum before I was talking about.
oh yeah. You know what they say? Rome wasn't built in a day. I don't know. Just came up there with it anyway. Last one for quick hands. What's your most used app on your phone?
This is a really tricky one.
I mean, we could check
Check out. We could check now. I actually have a thing on my phone that tells me my screen time for each app. At the moment, looks like it's Strava number one. Eight
Oh,
minutes on Strava
dedication.
today.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've been trying to use my phone less.
8 minutes is your most used app at the moment.
Yeah.
Yeah. That is
So I've been
incredible.
trying to use my phone less.
That is
Um,
incredible.
because yeah, maybe we'll touch on this a bit as well. But I find a lot of people they just spend their time scrolling on TikTok and Instagram and whatnot. So I've never really downloaded TikTok, but
Oh,
I
I've never
have
had it.
found myself spending a lot of time just scrolling through Instagram and whatnot, and that's just a big waste of time. So I like to keep my life a bit more productive than that. So yeah, I like to minimize my screen time as well.
Yeah, I set limits as well.
Yeah.
So I ask them all the time if you say you work on that. No, it's good though. I think any screen time under 2 hours a day is highly respected. I think for our generation.
What's my screen time at the moment? Interesting to
I
check.
need to check mine as well, but we'll keep this on.
Today it's been 26 minutes. So going well so far.
2 hours and
What have
45.
you been doing, Jerry?
Yeah,
Oh, dear.
oh yeah. Anyway, so Quan, what's the best piece of advice someone's ever given
Best piece of advice. Um, I did have to think about this before. It's a little bit hard to say, but the general idea is there something small you can do now that will have big impacts down the line. And a very simple example of that is, let's say, just waking up 5 minutes earlier. Let's say I wake up at, I don't know, 8 o'clock and my train's at 9 o'clock, then maybe run into the risk of missing my train. But if I wake up maybe 5 minutes earlier, then, well, I don't have to risk wasting 20 minutes waiting for the next train. So that's a very simple example. You could extend that to, let's say, studying as well. So, is there something I can do, something small I can do now? Maybe watch a couple lectures. Um, yeah, that's something guess it's fairly big, but it's something small for now. But that saves me having to cram all my lectures into the week ahead. Um, and so yeah, that's the general what was the advice that you were asking.
Yeah, I expect that.
Yeah, just thinking about, is there anything you can do now that would have bigger impacts in the future? And if so, do it.
We love
Don't
that, mate.
procrastinate.
Don't procrastinate. We'll do it, but it's about if he wants it more, essentially.
Yeah.
Yeah. But just quickly, I wanted to cover your heritage. Tell us where you're from,
So
Vietnam.
yeah,
Yeah.
my background is Vietnamese. I was born here though. I haven't been to Vietnam too many times though. I've been there a couple of times when I was like really small. I think the last time I went was in 2019. And most of the time when I go there, it's for my parents who wants to visit their relatives and whatnot. So we do a little bit of traveling here and there in Vietnam, but not too much. Um, but yeah, we do have some Viet celebrations back at home here as well, like Lunar New Year and
Do you guys do red pockets as well?
yeah, we used to, not this year though, because
Yeah.
like
Oh, I'm too old.
yeah,
I'm
we're too
still
old for it
17.
now.
You're
I'm
too
old
old.
for it now. Yeah, I make my own money. I
Uh,
don't need external funding.
true. When we were little, like the more red pockets you got was like, yeah,
Yeah, we used to do that quite a bit
yeah.
when I was younger. We used to have all the relatives come over and we just get flooded with
Oh,
them.
for us,
Yeah,
we'd visit relatives because we visit our elders.
yeah,
Yeah, because I'm from East Timor. And I don't know. We might do it a bit differently. But it's
yeah.
still good, though. Yeah. I guess lastly, what's next for you in 2022 and beyond? Like, where do you see yourself, as an athlete? We probably touched on this before, but also as a student in, 12 months time.
Yeah, sure. So, what's next for me? So, in terms of athletics, I think we touched on this a little bit already. Hopefully, we'll get to run a marathon by the end of this year. And yeah, I plan to continue running for as long as I can. I want to be one of those 80-year-old guys in the future who's still running marathons and whatnot. Um, yeah, and as for what was the other one, the students. So I'm in my second year at the moment. So next year will be my final year of undergrad. And after that, I plan to do masters in mathematics. So mathematics is what I'm majoring in, or what I'm planning to major in. And after that, I'm actually not too sure. Um, I'm thinking of doing maybe extra research, so PhD or something like that. Or if not, maybe we'll just go down the teaching routes. Or maybe if I find something else I'm passionate about later, then we'll go with that. Maybe data science or stuff like that. But yeah.
That's awesome. You can be a cool maths teacher that like
Yeah.
teach the students in the athletics
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I'm so happy, mate. Any shout outs you want to mention? A few podcasts you listened to, like over the journey.
What was the question, sorry?
Oh, any shout outs to the Melbourne Uni people?
Or shout outs.
Yeah.
I'll shout out the whole dev squad. Dan Ellie as well, who've been coaching for the last
Yeah,
couple of
year and
years.
a half. Gotta get him on.
Yeah, they've been quite big motivations actually. So yeah, we'll shout them out.
Sounds good, Quan. And yeah, thanks so much for the chat. I feel like I've learned a lot about
Yeah.
being a specialist, like just
Yeah.
complex maths.
Complex numbers. Yeah.
And yeah, be sure to check out his YouTube channel. I don't want to stuff this up, so you can plug
So
yourself, mate.
if you want to learn about numbers that don't exist but we still use them, aka complex numbers, check out my YouTube channel and you'll learn all about them.
I'll link it in the show notes, and yeah, I'm sure we're gonna catch up plenty of times on the track, and we've got a 12 lap wave very soon, 20
Oh
minutes.
yeah.
So yeah, see
So
how we
it
go.
looks like we're on time for training today.
Oh, yeah, I don't have the shoes. Anyway, catch you guys later.